you're wondering how on earth you're going to decide where to move to in Australia, then keep watching because this video is for you. The first thing to consider is whether you have any visa obligations, as to whether maybe you need to be in one particular state or if you need to be in a regional area. Also, you may already have a job offer, which is going to substantially narrow down your options. The next thing that I highly recommend you do is to write down a list of why you're moving to Australia and what it is you want your day-to-day life to look like here. This might not sound necessary, but it's a really good way to help you make your decisions. When you know what you want from life in Australia, it can really help you to narrow down that search. And then it just becomes a process of elimination. Start by selecting a state or a territory. There are 6 states in Australia: Western Australia, Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia and Tasmania. And there are also 2 territories, which are Northern Territory and Australian Capital Territory. We picked Queensland for the year-round warm weather. Although there is warm weather elsewhere in the country, we weren't quite ready for the oven-like temperatures of the Northern Territory. We know that we're still POMs and we didn't want to push our boundary by going somewhere that was more hot than we could handle. We also picked Queensland because we really liked the idea of being on the East Coast, where there were so many other cities and so much going on. We felt that if we were on the western side, maybe we'd feel a lot more isolated. We also wanted beautiful beaches and water that's safe to swim in, or as safe as it gets anyway. Nice, mate. Also, I'd lived in Brisbane as well for a child, so I knew that I loved this area and I knew that I felt right at home here. The incredible thing about moving to Australia nowadays is that we have Google, and thank goodness for Google, because you can do a lot of research and find out a lot of information from your sofa anywhere in the world. Once you've picked your state, you need to pick an area within the state. That might sound like you'd be searching for a needle in a haystack from the other side of the world, but it really isn't as difficult as it sounds. What is the main city in the state that you're moving to? Because as newbies in the country, we really wouldn't recommend moving too far away from it for a few different reasons. First of all, your visitors, when they come to see you, will likely fly into the city airport. So you don't really want to be doing, say, a 12-hour round trip to go and pick them up. Secondly, in a new country, you're going to need a lot of people around you so that you can really build a new network and so that you don't feel too isolated. One of the most important things as an expat is that you do build a support network and get to know a lot of people around you. So it really helps if you're in that slightly more built up area. Thirdly, you've already got so many new things to get used to. You've got so many things that you're going to need to get into, that the last thing you really need is to, on top of that, to have to learn how to live in Whoop Whoop. I'm certainly not saying that you should live in the city. I'm just saying maybe don't locate yourself 6 odd hours away. And when you're looking at a map, sometimes these places don't look as far away as they are. So make sure you double check how long it would take you to travel from wherever you're thinking of moving to the city. At least to begin with, this will give you a location that is comfortable for you and will make your journey as an expat a lot smoother. As an example, when we chose to move to Queensland, the main city is Brisbane. We knew that we wanted to move close by to some beaches, and so the 2 options that we had were either the Sunshine Coast to the north of Brisbane or the Gold Coast to the south. Initially, we were drawn to the Goldie because it was a lot busier and also it was a lot more modern, which is what we were used to. However, I did get a job offer in the Sunshine Coast, and so we just ended up going there instead. Once we'd locked down the area of the Sunshine Coast, I knew that we wanted to live within a 30-minute drive of where I was working. So we went about finding a suburb. If you remember that list that I told you about, the one where you write down why you're moving to Australia and what kind of lifestyle you want to lead, This is the bit where that is going to come in really handy with making those final decisions. Where are you likely to find work in your occupation? You can jump on Seek and Indeed if you're not sure, because the jobs that you're going for, you might have more chance in one particular suburb than another. So it's worth finding out where work might be for you. Also, what do you want close by to you? Do you want to be in the countryside? Do you want to live by the beach? Do you want lots of shops around you? What is it that's important? And also, what kind of home do you want to live in? Now you can hop onto realestate.com or Domain and check out what suburbs it is that meet your requirements and also fit your budget. After all of that, it's likely narrowed down your search to just maybe 2 or 3 suburbs. Or you might have realised that you need to compromise on some of your requirements, in which case you need to go back to the drawing board and see what it is that's really important to you. When you've narrowed down your search to just a couple of suburbs, then you need to really get a feel for those communities and check where you think that you would settle best. Jump on the community Facebook pages, because there's pretty much one for every suburb. People chat, people tell their problems in the suburb, people share great news. You can really get a feel for the community vibe in those community Facebook pages. And you can also ask lots of questions. People are usually happy to help. You can also speak to real estate agents in the area and see what they've got to say. Now, this might all help you to make your mind up from your sofa in the country that you're currently living in, but it might not. And if it doesn't, don't worry. There is absolutely no rush. You can wait until you've got here and make a definite decision once you've actually seen places with your own eyes. Once you arrive in Australia, you can visit, you can look at properties, you can go and sit in the local cafe, and you can also go and do school tours if you have children. Once you have seen it all with your own eyes and you've really got a feel for the place, then you should be able to make your decision by now. And remember, it might just come down to weighing up a few decisions, in which case, have a look at your list of what it was that you wanted from your move and let those requirements guide you in your decision. You need to be somewhere that makes you feel comfortable and that you feel like you can settle. Check out our 3 Moving to Australia ebooks for more help with your move. And make sure that you follow us on Instagram at the BAM Famalam. And make sure you watch this video next.